Hello everyone, welcome to Educators Plus. My name is Udbasra Sheikh and आज की वीडियो में हम लोग जो टॉपिक डिस्कस करने वाले हैं that is thermal pollution. So thermal pollution is part of your NTA NET JRF paper first, unit 9th that is people development and environment. So thermal pollution is part of your unit 9 that is environment. Now environment की जो बाकी सब टॉपिक्स हैं वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड इन आर प्रीवियस वीडियोस. सो अगर आपने वो वीडियोस को चेकआउट नहीं किया आप चैनल पे जाके वो वीडियोस देख सकते हैं. इस वीडियो में हम लोग पूरा थर्मल पोल्यूशन डिस्कस करेंगे. वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग ईच एंड एवरी एस्पेक्ट रिलेटेड टू दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक सो दैट यू कैन स्कोर गुड मार्क्स इन योर एग्जामिनेशन एंड ऑल्सो वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर्स जो इस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक से आए हुए हैं. So now let's start with the topic, but before starting I would like to inform you guys that Educators Plus की Google Play पे एक ऐप भी है. So if you want you can download the app from the Google Play and in the app you will be finding paid courses जिसमें videos and live sessions होंगे. E-books available हैं सारे topics के ऊपर that to both in Hindi and English medium. Also mock test series available है CBT mode के ऊपर. Complete study material provide किया जाएगा new pattern के ऊपर and also live interactive sessions होंगे for doubt clearance. For more details, you can check out the description box. So now let's start with the topic that is thermal pollution. So see, basically what is thermal pollution? देखिए thermal pollution जानने से पहले you need to understand that what is thermal energy जिसकी वजह से ये pollution cause हो रहा है. So thermal energy is basically the energy that is carried by a heat flow. So pollution that is caused by heat is known as thermal pollution. सो देखिए अगर मैं इसको आपको और जनरल टर्म में बताऊं थर्मल पोल्यूशन तो देखिए जब डिस्चार्ज होता है वार्म वाटर का इनटू रिवर इट इज़ यूजुअली कॉल्ड एज थर्मल पोल्यूशन. सो ये अकर कब होता है? देखिए जब इंडस्ट्रीज जो होती हैं वो रिमूव करती हैं वाटर को फ्रॉम अ सोर्स एंड देन दे यूजेस द वाटर फॉर कूलिंग पर्पजेज एंड देन रिटर्न्स द हीटेड वाटर टू इट्स सोर्स. देखिए जो पावर प्लांट्स होते हैं वो हीट वाटर को कन्वर्ट करते हैं इनटू स्टीम सो दैट दे कैन ड्राइव द टर्बाइंस जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को जनरेट करते हैं. अब नाउ फॉर एफिशिएंट फंक्शनिंग ऑफ दीज स्टीम टर्बाइंस जो स्टीम होती है ना दैट इज कंडेंस्ड इनटू वाटर आफ्टर इट लीव्स द टर्बाइंस. और ये जो कंडेंसेशन होता है ये किया जाता है जब वाटर को फ्रॉम अ वाटर बॉडी लिया जाता है टू एब्जॉर्ब द हीट और and then this heated water which is at least 50 degrees Celsius higher than the normal water is discharged back into the water body. So basically thermal pollution denotes the impairment of quality or we can say deterioration of aquatic and terrestrial environment by various industrial plants like thermal, atomic, nuclear, coal-fired plants, oil field generators, factories and mills. So basically thermal pollution is the degradation of water quality by any processes जो water temperature को change करता है which changes the ambient of water temperature. Now further thermal pollution को कहा जाता है जब rise होता है temperature का of a natural body of water caused by human influence. Now thermal pollution unlike chemical pollution results in a change in the physical properties of water. So a common cause of thermal pollution is the use of water as a coolant by power plants and industrial manufacturers. So now अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि क्या क्या कॉजेस होती हैं जिसकी वजह से थर्मल पोल्यूशन कॉज होता है. So पहला कॉज थर्मल पोल्यूशन का है दैट इज यूज ऑफ वाटर एज अ कूलिंग एजेंट इन पावर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड इंडस्ट्रियल प्लांट्स. सो देखिए जो प्रोडक्शन और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट्स होते हैं दे आर द बिगेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ द थर्मल पोल्यूशन. ना ये जो प्लांट्स होते हैं ये वाटर को जो भी उनकी नियर बाय सोर्स होती है ना उससे ड्रॉ करते हैं. जो वाटर को जो नियर बाय सोर्स होती है ना उससे लेते हैं टू कीप द मशीन्स कूल एंड देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स ये इसी सेम वाटर को हायर टेम्परेचर में रिलीज कर देते हैं बैक इनटू द वाटर बॉडीज. सो व्हेन दिस हीटेड वाटर रिटर्न्स टू द रिवर और ओशन देन द वाटर टेम्परेचर राइज शार्पली. और जब ऐसा होता है तो ऑक्सीजन लेवल्स जो होते हैं वो ऑल्टर्ड हो जाते हैं वाटर में एंड इसकी वजह से जो क्वालिटी और लॉन्गिविटी होती है ऑफ द life in the underwater it also gets degrade. Then the next cause is soil erosion. देखिए soil erosion. So further soil erosion is another major factor which causes thermal pollution. देखिए जो consistent soil erosion होता है ना that causes water bodies to rise जिसकी वजह से it makes them more exposed to sunlight and then the high temperature could prove fatal for aquatic biomes as it may give rise to anaerobic conditions. Then another cause is deforestation. So, trees and plants prevent sunlight from falling directly onto the lakes, ponds, rivers, etc. Right? So, जब deforestation होता है, जो water bodies होती हैं वो directly expose हो जाती हैं towards the sunlight and thus absorbing more heat. और जब more heat को वो absorb करेंगे तो temperature ultimately rise होगा. So therefore, deforestation is also the main cause of the higher concentration of greenhouse gases, therefore causing global warming in the atmosphere, जिसकी वजह से rise होता है temperature में in the water bodies. Then the next source is runoff from paved surfaces. देखिए जो urban runoff होता है ना, that discharge to surface waters from paved surfaces जैसे कि roads हुए, parking lots हुए, that can make the water warmer. And even during the summer seasons जो pavements होती है ना, that quite and even during the summer seasons the pavement gets quite hot, which creates warm runoffs that get into the sewer system and also ultimately to the water bodies. Then the next cause is natural causes. देखिए natural causes हो गई जैसे कि volcanoes हो गए, geothermal vents हो गए, and also hot springs under the oceans and seas. They can trigger warm lava to raise the temperature of water bodies. Apart from that, lightning can also introduce a massive amount of heat into the oceans, and this means that the overall temperature of the water source will rise, having significant impacts on the environment. Now the next source is retention ponds. So जो retention ponds होते हैं ना, that can be another source of thermal shock because जो water bodies होती हैं that are relatively small and shallow and can absorb quite a bit of heat energy from the sun. Now when the water that is pumped directly into a river, lake or bay, it causes a significant temperature increase. Now it is similar to pouring a hot pitcher of water into a bathtub full of water that causes the water to jump a few degrees. Then the next cause of thermal pollution is domestic sewage. So domestic sewage is often discharged into rivers, lakes, canals, streams without treating the waste. Now the temperature of municipal water sewage is normally higher than receiving water. Apart from that, with the increase in temperature of the receiving water, जो dissolved oxygen होता है water में, it decreases and hence the demand for oxygen increases, which causes anaerobic conditions. So now further let's discuss about the effects of thermal pollution. अब जब हम effects की thermal pollution की बात करते हैं, so it has been debated कि because of this rapid urbanization and industrialization, greater amount of industries has been situated. इसकी वजह से हम लोग को बेनिफिट भी बहुत होता है, बट इस बेनिफिट को हम लोग इसके पोल्यूशन रेट से कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते. सो because the effects of thermal pollution on ecosystem greatly outweigh the benefits that industries have by participating in the act. So the first effect is on the first effect of the thermal pollution is decrease in dissolved oxygen levels. देखिए जब warm temperature reduce करते, so basically जो warm temperature होता है वो reduce करता है dissolved oxygen water में. अब जो warm water होता है that holds relatively less oxygen than cold water. So जब decrease होता है dissolved oxygen का, it can create suffocation for plants and animals जो water environment में है जैसे कि fish, amphibians, so it may give rise to anaerobic conditions. Now warmer water जो होता है that also allow algae to flourish on the surface of the water, and over the long term जो growing algae होता है that can also decrease the oxygen levels in the water. Then the next effect of thermal pollution is increase in toxins. देखिए when जब constant flow होता है high temperature discharges का industries से, there is a huge increase in toxins that are being put into the natural body of water. So ये जो toxins होते हैं ये chemicals को contain करते हैं, radiations को contain करते हैं जो जिनका harmful effect होता है, impact होता है on the local ecology, and it make them susceptible to various diseases. So the next effect is loss of biodiversity. So basically a dent in the biological activity in the water may cause a significant loss of biodiversity. So changes आ सकते हैं environment में that can cause certain species of organisms to shift their base to some other place, while there could be significant number of species that may shift in because of warmer waters. So basically जो organisms that can adapt easily may have an advantage over ऐसे organisms that are not very used to adapt very rapidly, and hence very rapidly to the warmer temperatures, so hence it can cause a problem to those, and it can result in the loss of biodiversity because they will be not able to survive. Then the next effect is ecological impact. So जब sudden thermal shock होता है ना, that can result in mass killings of fish, insects, plants, amphibians, and also when the water is hotter, so hotter water may prove favorable for some species while it could be lethal for other species. और जो small water temperature increase होता है, it also increases the level of activity, while higher temperature increase अगर होता है, so it decreases the level of activity. So many aquatic species are sensitive to small temperature changes such as 1 degree Celsius that can cause significant changes in organisms metabolism and also other adverse cellular biology effects. Then another effect is that thermal pollution can affect the reproductive systems. So देखिए, when there is a significant halt in the reproduction of marine life, although this may be true, reproduction can still occur between fish, but the likelihood of defects in newborn is significantly higher. So it can happen due to the increase in temperatures, as reproduction can happen within a certain range of temperature. So जब excessive temperature होता है, it can also cause the release of immature eggs and it can prevent the normal development of certain eggs. So yes, thermal pollution do affect the reproductive system. Then the next effect is increased metabolic rate. So जब thermal pollution होता है ना, so it increases the metabolic rate of organisms, as it increases the enzyme activity that occurs, which causes organisms to consume more food than what it is normally required. So it disrupts the stability of the food chain and also alters the balance of the species composition. Then the next source is migration. So when the warm water can also cause particular species of organisms कि वो migrate कर जाएं to a suitable environment जहाँ उनकी requirements fulfill हो रही हो for survival, and this can result in a loss for those species जो depend करती हैं on their daily food, as their food chain is interrupted. So hence it is another effect of thermal pollution. So now let's discuss about solutions जिसकी वजह से हम लोग thermal pollution को prevent कर सकते हैं. देखिए, when we talk about solutions of thermal pollution that is required for its detrimental effects on the aquatic ecosystem in the future, there are a number of methods that have been suggested and also developed to convert the thermal effluents from power plants into a useful heat sources for maximizing the benefits. But the solutions to thermal discharge into water bodies we will be discussing are as follows. So the first solution is cooling ponds. So देखिए, cooling ponds, or we can say reservoirs, are the simplest methods of controlling thermal discharges. Now in cooling ponds, जो heated effluent होता है ना on the surface of water, which maximizes the dissipation of heat to the atmosphere, and then also it minimizes the area and volume of the water. So now this is the simplest and the cheapest method that cools the water to consider, and this is the simplest and also we can say the cheapest method that cools the water to a considerably low temperature. However, the method alone is less desirable as well as inefficient in terms of air-water contact. Then the next solution is cooling towers. So after using water from a water sources for cooling purposes, it is subsequently returned to the water body after passing through the condenser. Now this is what is termed as the cooling process. So जो cooling towers होते हैं, they are designed to control the temperature of water so that they can make the cooling process more effective. And जो cooling towers होते हैं ना, that are mainly used to dissipate the recovered waste heat to eliminate the problems of thermal pollution. Then the next solution is artificial lakes. So देखिए, artificial lakes, man-made lakes होती हैं. These are man-made water bodies that offer a possible alternative. So जो heated effluents होता है ना, उनको so जो heated effluents होते हैं, we can discharge them into the lake at one end, and the water may be withdrawn from the other end for cooling purposes. So जो heat होती है, that is eventually dissipated through evaporation. However, these lakes have to be rejuvenated continuously. Apart from that, the next solution is water recycling. So industrially, So basically industrially treated water, can be recycled for domestic use, and also industrial heating, that the problem of thermal pollution can be, mitigated. Then the other applications are the thermal discharge of power plants can be used in other purposes like industrial and space heating, biological applications such as soil warming, and also in fish culture, livestock shelters, and heating greenhouse gases, and also heating greenhouses instead of throwing that heated water back into the natural source. So till now we have discussed what is the meaning of thermal pollution, uska kya source hota hai, uske kya effect hote hain, and how can we prevent the thermal pollution. Now we will be discussing about some of the questions that is related to this particular topic. So the first question is, what is called when an industry removes water from a source and then returns the heated water to its source? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option D, that is thermal pollution. देखिए जो थर्मल पोल्यूशन होता है ना, दैट अकर्स जब कोई इंडस्ट्री रिमूव करती है वाटर को फ्रॉम अ सोर्स विच यूजेस द वाटर फॉर कूलिंग पर्पसेस, and it returns the heated water to its source as lakes, rivers, and even oceans. Now the next question is, which one of the following can cause thermal pollution? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option B, that is power plants. So power plants are the major source of thermal pollution, and it can cause thermal pollution. So basically power plants discharge heated water which is at least 15 degrees Celsius higher than the normal water, and it is back into the river body. Now the next question is, what is the effect of warmer temperature to the fishes? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option A, that is increases the metabolism. So जब warmer temperature को हम लोग, so basically जो warmer temperature होता है वो decrease करता है solubility of oxygen, and इसकी वजह से जो increase होता है, that is increase in the metabolism of fish. So this changes the ecological balance of the river, and within certain limits जो thermal additions होते हैं ना, it can promote the certain fish, and fish catch may be high in the vicinity of power plant. Now the next question is, what is the disadvantage of control measures of thermal pollution by passing the heated water? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option D, that is water is lost due to evaporation. So जो thermal pollution होता है ना, it can be controlled by passing the heated water through a large shallow cooling pond into which hot water is pumped, and a cooling tower after it leaves the condenser. Now in both the cases जो लार्ज अमाउंट होता है ना वाटर का, वो लॉस्ट हो जाता है ड्यू टू द प्रोसेस ऑफ इवेपोरेशन. Now the next question is, how does soil erosion cause thermal pollution? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option D, that is by making natural water bodies to rise beyond their normal level. See, जो soil erosion होता है, that is one of the main cause for thermal pollution. So जो soil erosion होता है ना, it makes the natural water bodies to rise beyond their normal level, and thus they get more exposed to sunlight and cause thermal pollution. Now the next question is, what is thermal shock? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option A, that is a sudden raise of temperature to abnormal level. So देखिए thermal shock जो होता है, that results in a rise of temperature of water bodies. Now when industries and factories dispose the water into water bodies, so the temperature suddenly raises to abnormal level, and this act is known as thermal shock for aquatic life, and it is known as thermal shock. Now the next question is, what is the main effect of thermal pollution to the oxygen solubility in water bodies? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option C, that is they reduce the solubility of oxygen in water bodies. So one of the main effects of thermal pollution is that they reduce the solubility of oxygen in water bodies. So hence this less solubility of oxygen in water mainly affects the metabolism of water animals, and thus it leads to the death of aquatic animals. Now the next question is, how does an artificial lake help in solving thermal pollution? So you have the following options, and the correct answer is option A, that is it stores heated water. So artificial lakes basically helps in preventing thermal pollution. How? देखिए इन आर्टिफिशियल लेक्स द जो हीटेड वाटर होता है दैट कैन बी स्टोर्ड इजीली एंड these lakes are very helpful for normalizing the temperature of the hot water. Now hot water will not be disposed back to the natural water bodies and hence it can reduce in causing the thermal pollution. So yes, this was all for today's video. I hope you find this video helpful or relevant. Then please do subscribe to our channel, like, share and comment, and stay tuned for the next upcoming videos. Thank you.